Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name's Nastasia. I'm wearing a leopard print headband. It makes me want to say, hey all you cool cats and kittens. But I will refrain. Today I have a really fun video. Well, I think it's fun. I hope you guys think it's fun. And it is, squeak, what? Don't mind me, I'm just playing with my dog in the corner. Today I am telling you 30 red flags, that's right, 30 red flags in dating / a relationship. And let me put this out there, these are for me personally. When I was dating, I am engaged, I'm getting married to the love of my life, the best man I will ever meet, and I am so thrilled. But that doesn't mean I still don't have advice for some of you guys when I was going through my singleness or dating phases and stuff like that. These are the red flags that I looked for. If they don't suit you, that's fine. Don't come for me. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm hoping that maybe this gives you some insight. Maybe it's something that you hear and you think, you know, I hadn't thought of that before, but I'm gonna do that too. Don't come for me in the comments, I'm so sick of it. If you end up liking this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on a video every time I post. My Instagram is right here. I'm so sorry about my dog being the noisiest ever. My Instagram's right here for all the behind the scenes of my life. I post on there daily on either my feed or my story. And I'm gonna start doing some more Instagram live videos, which I think will be really fun to interact with you guys. So make sure you go follow me over there. Okay, I have a whole list here of like 4 pages. So we're just gonna get into this. My list, this is my list of red flags that I looked at when I was dating and that I've kind of established over those years of dating that I think would give some good insight so that you don't have to get heartbroken too in certain ways that I was. First one, and this is, if you're not gonna listen to any of the other ones or adopt any of the other ones, please listen to this one. As a Christian, if he is not a Christian, that's a red flag. If you're not a Christian, this doesn't really apply to you, obviously, but if you are, you consider yourself a follower of Jesus, that's, in my opinion, a non-negotiable. To go along with this, if he claims to be a Christian, but his life isn't really reflecting that, if he's not really acting like a Christian, and I'm not saying perfect, by no means is any man perfect, but if his life isn't even like showing that fruit, that comes with the Holy Spirit and kind of acting in that way, that's a red flag to me. Next is he isn't protective of you. I'm gonna say you just because it's easier, but again, these are my red flags. Little story time, tiny little story time. I dated a guy for a long time, okay? The longest relationship I had been in. One night, I went to Kroger after leaving his house. It was late. It was like 11 p.m. The Kroger was like 10 minutes from where he lived, okay? I go to this Kroger, and there's this guy inside following me. This grown man, and he kept going around and peeking around the different like aisles and going, psst, and I turned around and he'd go like this. And it was the scariest thing, okay? He kept following me through the store. There wasn't a lot of other people in the store. Like, I was so freaked out. So I called this guy that I was dating that I was in a relationship with at the time and was explaining how scared I was and everything. And he goes, well, what do you want me to do? And I was like, I don't know. Come here, help me. And he goes, just have somebody walk you out, and hangs up. The boy goes to sleep, okay? Little mini story time. We are obviously not together anymore. I'm engaged to a very protective, caring man now, but like, whoo! Next one, response to difficult situations or any situation really, even like the little ones, in a lot of anger. So I know it's normal to have certain outbursts at things when you have a stressful day or something, but if their automatic response to everything is anger and kind of like aggressive anger, big red flag for me. That shows something not super great for me. This one is treats his mother, his sisters, his aunt, the waitress, all of the above with disrespect. Again, I'm not saying that like perfect, you get in arguments with your mom and stuff, but in general is disrespectful to women, and even if he's not disrespectful to you yet, if he was disrespectful to the waitress, his mom, his sisters, whatever, big red flag for me. Next one, sends mixed signals. Let's just have a moment of silence for all the times that you have been sent mixed signals. Thank you. Okay, this is a real issue. Game of playing hard to get versus the game of, you know, showing enough interest to keep them. No. Like, not doing it. Okay, this one keeps you as a secret. What I mean by that is, like, doesn't share you on any kind of social media, doesn't share you with his family, doesn't tell his friends or family about you at all. And this is not necessarily right when you start dating. I know there's kind of like a window of time where you want to, before you announce it to the world, you want to make sure everything's going swimmingly, all of that. But if it's like a while down, months, I mean, I would say sometimes even weeks down the road and nobody knows about you, or if they refuse to ever share you on social media, ooh, I had an experience with that once. Big red flag. Yeah, that's a red flag to me. That means, like, I might just be petty, but I want to be shown off, not as like this weird prize to be won, but just because he's proud of me, he loves me. That's what Kai does. He wanted to introduce, I think he introduced me to his family like a week after we met, and introduced me to his best friend like 3 days after we met. Like, the boy knew what he wanted, and so it's like, I know that's not always the case, but if he's keeping you a secret, well, at least for me, if he was trying to keep me a secret, it was not okay with me. This one, for me, is kind of one that took me a while to realize, but it's makes me come to him and never comes to me. I had a few of those instances in my life before I met Kai, that like I would always be expected to go to their house and to leave their house late, or to something, you know, they would never come to me, and they would never put in that kind of effort, and if they would, it would almost be like pulling teeth for me to have them do that. That was a red flag for me because it made me feel like less of a priority. Which leads me to my next point. Doesn't make you a priority, / makes you feel like an option, or straight up tells you you're an option, because that's happened to me before too. Obviously in the past, not with Kai, but if he's not making you a priority, especially as you keep dating, again, not like first date, second date, but once you guys are like, especially like dating and like, or even in a relationship, and he's not making you a priority to talk to you daily, to keep in touch with you, to make sure you're good, to that if he's overwhelmed in life and something has to go, that you're not the first thing that comes to his mind. That for me was a big thing. Okay, this one, again, this is just a personal thing. For me, a red flag was if he drinks a lot. That was a big thing for me because I see a lot of emotion behind that. If somebody's drinking constantly, I'm kind of wondering, what are you trying to suppress? What kind of emotions or thoughts or problems are you trying to push away? I know it's not always like that, but for me, that's a personal thing. I just don't personally want that. Plus, I don't like the idea that you have to be drinking to have a good time, because I just like to have fun sober. So next one is that he is afraid to defend what he believes, whether that be his faith, whether that be standing up for something he just personally believes in, or something like standing up for you, I guess in this instance, standing up for me or whatever, or even if it was like he told you or told his friends or something one thing and then turns around and just doesn't stand up for what he says, or just changes his mind immediately. It's just kind of two-faced to me, and it was a red flag to me. This one is talking about or comparing me to his ex. This in a bad way is what I mean. So like, you know, there's gonna be times, especially when you're in a relationship, that I feel like, you know, you're gonna learn about each other's pasts, and you're gonna learn why some things bother somebody because of their past and because of maybe what their ex did to them or something. That's not exactly what I mean. What I mean is, especially like the first date, second date, whatever, talking about his ex right away, that's pretty bad. And then comparing you in a bad way, like saying, wow, you're just as bad as so-and-so, or you're just like so-and-so, or I really liked when she did this and you don't do that, or something. Oh, I do not get compared to. Next one is always talking about himself or like arrogance in any way. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, arrogance is probably my biggest pet peeve, which is why I'm very sensitive to, like, if anybody ever thinks I'm seeming arrogant or privileged or something like that, I take it very seriously, and it hurts my feelings that people think that, because I do my best to humble myself as much as possible, because I hate arrogance. It's just like, oh my gosh, when they act like, I don't know, like they're all of that and you're just kind of like their side piece, or that you're lucky to even be with them. Yikes, girl. Next one is making you feel insecure for having insecurities. And what I mean by that is when they make you feel bad about being insecure. Like if they're like, oh, you're just so insecure, like I can't take it. Like, what do you think that's gonna do? It's going to make me more insecure. Like, there's nothing worse than being insecure about even having insecurities. I'm sorry, men, if you're watching, every single girl has some kind of insecurity. Telling you that right now, because we are fallen and so are you, and so you probably have them too. And there's a difference. Like if you are truly struggling with insecurities to the point that it takes over your life and you feel like you can't trust anybody, well then, you know, maybe take a break from dating and maybe just like get yourself right with the Lord and your foundation in Him. But if you're truly trying, or like if there's a time that you're like, I just don't feel pretty today, I feel bloated or something, and he's just like, oh, you're always so insecure, like what do you want from me? Like, excuse you. Next one is making you feel like you have to prove yourself. If he ever makes you feel like you have to prove yourself to be with him, like that you're on like a 3 strikes you're out system, or like work your way up, no, that is not what dating or relationship is about. It is about caring about the other person and serving that other person as Jesus would. And if it turns out that it's not gonna work out, you know, that's one thing. But you're not just trying to find everything wrong with them to use against them. Next one is immediately trying to get physical, like kissing or anything like that. I personally, again, you could be different. I personally, if somebody is immediately trying to get physical with me, take it as a red flag. Because I'm like, you don't even really know me yet. So why do you want to know my body so badly, so quickly? And this one, again, personal, but this is the number 2 thing. If you're gonna listen to anything I have to say, please hear me. If he has any kind of issue or addiction to pornography, I'm out. That might sound really insensitive to you guys. I'm sorry if it does. This is my own personal thing. I know that there are a lot of people, and you know, men also, that have recovered from things like this, and God has done really great works in their life. I'm not saying you never date somebody who has struggled with this, but I personally couldn't marry somebody who had a porn addiction, because I have not personally dealt with it, but in my family that has been an issue. Won't get into that. I've seen how it wrecks lives. Again, God can work anything out. For me personally, that was not something I was willing to do. I couldn't handle it. But if that is something you're struggling with, there is hope, there is love, God is for you. You know, even though that's not something I personally struggle with, I have other struggles, so don't feel like you're alone. And don't feel like you're unlovable. I want to be really careful when I say that. You're not unlovable at all. That's just something that I am not equipped to handle. But, you know, there are other things I am equipped to handle. Some women wouldn't be equipped to handle a guy with insecurities, or a guy with this or whatever, that I feel like I am equipped to handle better. This is something that God, I don't feel like has given me the gift to handle something like that. But maybe he has given you the gift as a woman to walk through that with another man or something. However, if he's actively addicted to it now, I would urge you to talk to a counselor or a pastor to see if that really is the route you want to take, or if you want to maybe put it on hold for a while of dating them before they get to a place of victory over that addiction first. Take that with a grain of salt, but that's the best thing that I have found for myself. Next one, this is if you're in a relationship, not when you just first start dating. If he spends more time with his friends than you, yeah, maybe I'm just clingy. When you're first dating, obviously it makes sense, you haven't really gotten to know each other yet, but I just feel like, you know, the person you're in a relationship with, the person you might marry, should be a priority over your friends. I'm not saying don't see them ever, but not even as much as your person, your significant other. Me personally, that's my opinion. Another one, if he remarks on how other women look in any way, it bothers me a lot. Again, Kai doesn't do this, very thankful. But if he were to be like, oh my gosh, look at her thighs, they're so big or something, red flag. If he were to be like, oh my gosh, look at her, she's so fat, like, that's gross, red flag. Or, on the contrary, if he were to be like, wow, that girl's really pretty, red flag. Because all of those lead to insecurities in my mind of, I need to make sure my legs don't get too big. I need to make sure I don't ever gain weight. I need to make sure that I look like that girl right there. That's not how it is. I'm not saying that they can never think another girl's pretty. I mean, I would love if that weren't the case, but it's just not realistic. They should not be saying it to you. Honestly, they shouldn't even be saying it out loud. Next one, if he tries to tell you what to eat or what not to eat in a forceful way, or takes food away from you and says you shouldn't be eating that, or that's not for you, or something like a 2-year-old, red flag. Now, there's one exception to this red flagness in my mind for me. If you guys have fitness goals you're trying to reach together, if you have fitness goals that he's trying to help you reach, that's a little different if he's trying to help you. But if it's something where like, none of that's been discussed, you did not give him like permission in a way to do that, and he's just like, no, 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 the bread's not for you, red flag. This is another very personal one to me. Maybe it doesn't bother you, it bothers me. If he has a lot of girlfriends, red flag to me. Again, some girls that doesn't bother them at all. I am a jealous being. I wouldn't say I'm super jealous, I guess. I need to be careful when I say that, but like, it doesn't sit well with me if another girl knows as much or even close to as much about my guy as I do, unless that girl is his sister or a cousin or related in some kind of way. If he just has a lot of girlfriends, especially if his like best friend is a girl and not related to him, for me personally, that's a red flag. Might not bother you, just bothers me. Along with friends, the next one for me is if he's surrounded by friends that are a bad influence. You know, there's a saying is that you kind of turn into the 5 people you most surround yourself with. I believe that wholeheartedly. And if you're constantly surrounded by bad influences, then you're most likely going to take their attributes. Also with that, there's a level of accountability that isn't there if they don't have the same morals and values that you do, if they're not in the word the way you are and stuff like that. And I believe accountability and community is a really good thing. Am I saying you should not have friends that are different from you? Absolutely not. Am I saying that you should have friends that are only Christian if you're a Christian? No. I think that you should have friends with anybody who wants to be your friend. But there's different like circles of friends. If your inner circle is bad influence, kind of a red flag to me. Another one that's personal to me is if he has any kind of addiction to drugs. That's a hard no for me. I'm probably still gonna get hate for this. I feel like I can say nothing and still get hate. But like, I'm not gonna date somebody with a drug addiction. It's not gonna happen, and that was always a big red flag to me. Okay, again, the next one is very personal to me, and you might not give a crap about. But to me, it's that if they didn't have the same political views as me. The reason that's important to me is because I majored in politics and policy in college, so it's like a big part of my life. I know you probably wouldn't expect that looking at me because I'm all like, you know, I opened this video kind of saying, hey, cool cats and kittens, and like, I don't know, someone into politics wouldn't do that. But I did major in politics and policy, worked in DC for a short time. I thought that was gonna be the path God led me down. Turns out it isn't, and that's okay. But all that being said, politics are important to me. If they're not important to you, then you do you, boo-boo. But I knew it was going to be a strain in our relationship if they didn't hold the same political views as me. Again, another very personal one. Don't be offended, especially any of you gamers out there. I still love you. But if he was always playing video games, because I was with a few guys who were always playing video games. When I say with, I mean like dated. But like, that were always playing video games, and it was, I'm not into that world. And maybe it's something that you and your guy bond with. Maybe you love video games and stuff, and I know some couples like that, and that's great for you. Seriously, like seriously, that's great for you. That's not a red flag for anything. It was just for me, because I knew I wouldn't enjoy it if he was always playing and I wanted to like go outside or I wanted to do something or whatever, and he was like, yeah, let me finish this game. I don't know, I knew I would always be like kind of resentful, so I knew it probably wouldn't work if he was super into video games. However, I will say Toontown was my jam, but that's like an internet game, but that was my jam when I was growing up. This one, I don't even know if this needs like a title of what it is. I think it's a story. One time I dated a guy who told me that he was complaining that we prayed together too much. Yep. He also claimed to be a Christian and like literally served at the church, and he claimed that our prayers once a day together were too much. Kind of a red flag. Okay, next one, I think a bunch of you can relate to this one. Being flirtatious with any girl while he's dating you, but especially your friends, just hits me some sort of way. Hopefully, I haven't had a lot of experience with that happening to me, but I have seen it happen to other friends of mine. It literally actually like makes me want to punch a wall. Okay, this one, again, might not bother you, definitely bothers me. If they're still in touch with their ex or exes or whatever, that's a red flag for me. I have some friends who they're still friends / friendly / in touch with their exes, and it doesn't affect their relationship. I think it would affect mine personally, and thankfully Kai feels the exact same way. I'm not friends with any of my exes anyway, and neither is he, so it works out. But for me, it wouldn't work well. But maybe it does for you. This one I have to explain a little bit, but it doesn't know how to argue fairly. What I mean by that is you're gonna argue as a couple, whether you're dating, in a relationship, married, whatever, you're gonna argue. It's just gonna happen, you're gonna have disagreements. But if they don't know how to do it correctly and fairly and are not learning how to, then that's kind of a bad sign to me, because it's like there's a way to argue with somebody and to get your point across and even be frustrated without tearing them down or like ripping apart who they are as a person. So if they're playing unfairly, if they're trying to be manipulative, if they're, saying, well, fine, I just won't ever speak to you again then, if that'll make you happy, like, not fair. Or if they just storm out, not fair. If they are bringing up past hurts whenever they want to out of their back pocket after they've said they've forgiven you, not fair fighting. So if that's a thing that keeps reoccurring and they're not willing to just argue like an adult, that was a red flag for me. Only two more. This one, again, personal to me. I know I've said that like a million times, but I can't say it enough. This might not bother you. For me, if they loved gambling, that was a big red flag for me, only because I have had past hurt in my family, won't get into it, where I've seen it destroy lives, and it's just something I can't handle personally. Maybe you can, maybe it's not a big deal to you, maybe you guys bond over that, I don't know how that works. But that was something that I knew I was never gonna be able to heal enough from to be actively okay with that. The last one, which is kind of a happy note and kind of a sad note, I like to focus on how they treat animals. You're gonna be like, what? No, but like, even if they aren't so like lovey-dovey with animals, I know some people are like that, that's fine. But like, if they hate animals, or if they're like mean to animals or abusive or something, or hit their animal, that like pushes me over the edge. Not only because it's a living creature that God created and he told us to steward it well and to treat them well, but also because, you know, sometimes that can be a reflection of how they will also treat their children one day. That's if they're abusive. That's not saying if they just aren't a fan of animals, but if they're abusive towards animals, that can play into that. And also, I'm just such an animal lover, and I love dogs. Mine is literally right back here right now. And even if they weren't obsessed or something, if they hate dogs and I could never have a dog, I'm not saying it would have never worked, but just for that reason, thankfully Kai's not like that. We both want a dog one day, but I'm just saying, like, you know, it's important to me. I love animals, and I just feel like it'd be something that wouldn't ruin a relationship, but would be kind of like something in my head to think about. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's kind of long. Hope you liked it. Take what you want from it, leave what you want from it. Don't really care. Just thought it'd be a fun one to get out there and kind of talk to you guys about. So I love you so, so much, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.